see. Well, so thank you everyone for joining, and with that, we will get started. I call on Harish to introduce today's session, and we can get started.
Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to the first class on AI. Now, our journey of education which started at IIMBAA continues, and this is one of the first master classes that we are arranging through IIMBAA. And Vishal, our good friend, fellow alum from 2012 batch, and an AI expert, founder of the company called Quantina, is here to take us through 8 sessions on AI and how we can upskill ourselves to stay current with the trends. So first of all, thank you very much, Vishal. And thanks to each of you for joining this class today and for registering. For your information, we have 400 plus registrations. And through your contributions, we are able to collect over 200,000 for the charitable organizations associated with IIMBAA for Good. So thank you very much. A heartfelt thanks for this positive contribution. And with that, over to you, Vishal.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for contributing. You guys are already amazing, and delighted that we could contribute this much for kids and teenagers in their training. Okay, so let me get started with what I have to showcase for you guys today. Now, for some of you who have joined my session in the past, it's quite a good deep dive into different tools and something that's very practical. So I created these series of lessons based on what I and my team actually end up using. So I try to reduce all the hype that's out there in the market and really stick to things that you as an individual can use. You can start thinking about how your team can use it and really put it to use. So forget the hype of what AI can do, can't do, but we'll get into what you can start using in January 2026 to make your life as a business person, as a founder, as an executive, as effective as possible. So I've selected a couple of tools today that we'll be going through, and this is meant to be an actionable session. So we'll be going through a couple of tools, a couple of prompts, and I'd like to see people put it to use. There is also a WhatsApp group for this session, so please join that. Lokesh, please share the chat WhatsApp group link to join in the chat as well. So if you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, please do join in that. All right. So let's get started with basically who's here. Just to recap, I just uploaded this into an AI to just give me a quick summary. I didn't want to go through all the registrations, but just good for everybody to know who else is in the room. As per this, we've got about 40% who are senior leaders. This little word graph says CEO, director, product manager. We see a lot of brands, Amazon, Oracle, SAP, Adobe, a lot of tech companies that it's sort of pulled together. And definitely Bangalore has a huge presence over here. This is a great visual. This took me about 15 seconds to create, and I was able to show it for today. And I'll show you exactly how I did this as a hint at the bottom right, if you haven't seen that already. But these are one of those things that, in the right hands, you can really do a lot of visualization, a lot of things as an executive that you could do a lot faster than you used to. Okay, so while I'm going through this, there is a tool that I have mentioned that we will be using. It's called Handy. The link of that, it's handy.computer. You can download it in the background while you're looking at this as well. So if you can do that, that would be great. I did post this up in the WhatsApp group as well. And yeah, you will find that this will be something that we'll cover. So if you can install it while we're doing this, please go ahead and do that. Okay, so just a quick introduction about me. Basically, I've been fortunate enough to live most of my life outside in different countries, in Germany, Malaysia, Uzbekistan. I completed my PGP from IIMBAA Bangalore, then I lived for 8 years in Australia, and I started this company, Quantana, while I was there, and we're now at 97 people working, creating software products, using AI, with AI products, etc. Fortunate enough to be growing and involved with some of the largest companies in the world. As a company, we've been creating products across the world. There's some clients you can see over there. Again, just visual. I just created this just to give you a quick illustration. I won't spend too much time on this one. Okay, so first things, before we get into AI, and this is probably my #1 question that I get asked is, how do I think about AI? And I've got a mental model that I'd like everyone to take away from today. And if nothing else you take away, this is probably one thing that you should. A beginner into AI world basically comes up and says, what is AI? Where do I start? What do I think about? What does it mean, etc. And I've got an analogy that I think everyone can relate to and hopefully use that as a starting point into our journey into AI as we get into it. So this is a fairly intense slide, but bear with me, it'll make sense as I explain it. I'll spend about 2 minutes on this one. So the way I look at AI is the way I look at cars. So if somebody says, I want to learn AI, I hear, I want to learn cars. So what does learning cars mean? Now, I've kind of broken it down into 4 levels, and you can think about cars in this way, and hopefully that'll make sense from an AI analogy as well. So when I look at cars in from the bottom level, like the most sort of technical side of cars is the engineering level. So if I want to create the engine that I create that can run the actual car, and that's where I need, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, so all of that to really understand how engines are made. One step above is putting together all the parts to build the car, so that we have something that can drive and move around. One level above that is the driver, where I don't really care about the engine. I just need it to work and do stuff for me. And I can go from point A to point B, and I'm happy that way. And probably the top level is, say, a business owner, somebody who is either running a car business or some other business, and cars just happen to be part of this thing. So you are all working professionals or business owners or CEOs, and presumably you either drive or take an Uber to work. Now, do you care that the engine was made by so-and-so person in so-and-so place and has this much operational efficiency and all of that? No. So most of us are somewhere up here. We're either using cars just to get our jobs done, or we are actually driving cars, right? So this is where I see AI as well. If you follow the same analogy, at the bottom level, the engine level, these are folks who are working as data scientists. They understand how AI models, the whole pre-training system works, how data in, data out works, etc. And this is like the lowest rung of LLM models that you kind of hear sometimes about. One level above is there's already a model, and we're now sort of putting together prompts and getting inputs, getting outputs from the LLM that's already there. So we're not building models, but we're sort of building uses on top of it.
Somebody messaged that no sound. Just ask in the chat. Hope everybody can hear us.
Yeah. Is
Size up, thumbs up or something. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess check your audio. Maybe that's okay. That's a whole wave of thumbs up. So I assume that's good. Wow. Okay. This is like the arrows in Bahubali kind of showering. So I love it. Good stuff. Okay, if anyone does have issues, maybe just try joining in again from your phone or from another browser. It could just be that. Okay, I'll continue with this. So the one level above the model of the data scientist is your prompt engineer, somebody who's working with the models but not creating the models. And this is where some level of understanding of how the engine works definitely helps. Then you have the application users who sit on top of that. You don't necessarily need to write prompts. It helps, but you're kind of using the overall application. You're going to a place and using that particular tool to give you some output. For for example, this entire slide is an output of Notebook LM, which is one of the tools we'll look at today. And I was able to do this in about 30 seconds, including the time taken to give the AI model my thoughts and create the slide. And at the top level is the productivity user. So this is where AI kind of just disappears, and you don't really think about it as a tool that you're going to, but it's a thing that you just use on a regular basis, and you just get to point A to point B without really even caring that it's AI. For all you care, it doesn't need to have AI, it just needs to work. And this is one of the tools I mentioned, Handy.Computer, which is a speech-to-text tool, where if you use it the right way, it'll just exponentially increase your productivity, because every time you need to type something, you can just speak it and just continue with the rest of your journey. So here, I don't care what the underlying tech is, it just works. Here, I do care about what I'm using. I'm sort of using that as a destination. Here, I'm writing prompts. Here's where some expertise of how AI works, how the inputs and outputs work will definitely help in your business. And the data scientist level. For this audience, for all practical purposes, you don't need to worry about this. And this is where a lot of times people come to me and say, well, I don't understand the technicals of AI. Is it still for me? And I say, yes. Well, you have all these layers that, if you use it the right way, will help you in your day-to-day life, will help you in your teams, will help you in a business. So I hope this clarifies, and feel free to use this analogy anywhere. So when somebody says, hey, I want to learn AI, just ask yourself, okay, what about cars do you want to learn? And go from there. Cool. By the way, you can use the chat or Q&A, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. Yes. And yeah, if there's any other questions that you're stuck on, and Lokesh will just escalate in case I'm sort of going on, if there's anything I need to get interrupted for. Okay. All right. Handy. Let's just jump straight into it. What is Handy? Now, here's how I see us as leaders, as managers, etc. You're not paid to type slowly. And this is something we never have thought about as a problem statement that is a bottleneck for getting stuff done. You kind of just assume that, yes, somebody has to type it for you. Those of us who don't have executive assistants, who will just take our dictation and get stuff done, well, this is most of us over here. And typing really does become a bottleneck when it needs to get anything done. So really the first step to anything in AI and any tool, you kind of end up typing. And so this is where, if you see the old way of doing it, maybe 40 words per minute. By the way, I type at maybe 90 to 110 words per minute. That is still definitely slower than typing at or speaking at 150 words per minute. And so this is one of those areas of what I call invisible AI, where because of AI, we're able to unlock the capabilities that was just not possible in the past. And these are the kind of tools that I'm most excited about, and this audience should be really ready to embrace. So it's a simple tool, and I'll just show how it works and how to install it. Basically, it allows you to speak and type into any text field. So whether you're in a Word document or an email or a chat or a browser, you can just speak it and it will work. So I'll just take a quick segue for those who haven't installed it. Just go to handy.computer. The location, if you can just paste that in the all chat. I'm having some issues in the all chat window. And you can download it. You can either download it directly in the first link, which will identify which one is useful for you, or you might just need to go in. So if you're on a recent Mac, this should work, Apple Silicon. If you're on an older Mac, this is usually the one that you want. And if you're on a Windows, you're almost 99% on this particular version of it. I'll give another, we'll go slowly. I'll give another 1-2 minutes for people to just go ahead and install this. And yeah, just give a thumbs up once you've installed it, you got it running. By the way, this I've gotten everybody in my company, so that's close to 97 people, to install and just start using it on a day-to-day basis. So as with most tools, there's usually, why do we need this? I can type as fast as 39 words per minute. Why do I need a tool that can do it faster? But over time, people have just realized, oh, I can just dump my thoughts into anything and I can do it a lot faster. So just keep giving a thumbs up if you are able to install. So like I said, Apple Silicon, if you're a recent Mac, if you're an older Mac, and for Windows, these guys. You can also just join the WhatsApp group as well. And by the way, it's good if you can install it. If you're not able to install it, don't worry. You don't need to get too hung up on this right away. We'll be using Gemini, ChatGPT. All of them have speech-to-text now built in. Your phone would typically have speech-to-text as well. But this is one tool that it's sort of just become universal now, where you can use it in anything. So just to demonstrate its use, let me just open up a new document. And I will press the shortcut. So once you install it, you should see something like this, which basically says transcribe. It'll ask you which model you want to download right away, by the way. So I select Parakeet V3. If you haven't seen that already, or you did select it, good on you. Select Parakeet V3, install it, and after you're done, you should see something like this. OK, so let's put it to use. So let's say now I'm pressing Command and space. Hello, this is a test message. And you see I've spoken and it has converted to text. That's pretty much it. End of story. Yep. So this particular tool just converts what you say into a text message. Now, hopefully you'll sort of realize that, yes, it's a very small tool. It's a very small value add in terms of how you can get data in. But trust me, when you see how it unlocks a lot of other use cases and helps you create things a lot faster than you would have. So I hope everyone was able to install it by now. And by the way, if you were not able to, don't worry. It's just the act of putting the speech to text. So even if you can type, hello, this is a test message, that also is fine. So we can take that offline as well. OK, so this is the first thing I wanted to unlock, the ability to speak and get text in, because that's the first step of multiple things that we will sequence and hopefully get better at. By the way, we've got about the next hour and a half together. So for the next hour, we'll be going through 3 tools. So this is the first one. There's a second and a third one, which I'll be showing. And as you're doing this, as you're watching, you can also follow along. So just practice. We'll go very slowly. Don't worry. This isn't one of those Russian, I hope you can keep up kind of things. If you're stuck in anything, please drop it in the chat. We will not try and answer that. And towards the end, we'll have an open Q&A. So the last 30 minutes is a low pressure, no stakes. Just ask any free questions, and we'll go from there. So ideally, we will get through most of our content for today in the next 1 hour, and then the last 30 minutes will be Q&A. OK, so I just talked about Handy and just quickly getting in speech to text. So this is a message, and go ahead and create an email for sending a happy birthday note to my friends. So now I've just created this message, right? It doesn't really do anything. But now when I combine this with other tools like Gemini, ChatGPT, AI tools that are out there, that's when it gets a lot more powerful. And so I'll come to that shortly. Let me just continue with this. OK. So this is Handy. I hope everyone is able to install it by now. I have this installed in my father's laptop as well, and he absolutely loves that. He doesn't have to hunt and peck and type. He can just freely dictate an entire, one-page email and just fix the small corrections at the end. So if nothing else, this one tool alone should ideally remove the mental roadblock of, oh, I have to type so much, to, oh, I will just speak it out. Definitely a game changer for everything else. And best part, it's completely free. It's completely open source. It runs locally, so you don't need any subscription. And this is one of those very high value finds that I think nobody is really talking about in any other sort of AI training kind of thing that you might go for. But this is something we use. So, okay. Now, this is kind of how we use AI for one of our use cases, is whenever we're in a meeting and we just want to get some sort of clean notes and structure out there. And so this is where either we're capturing the entire meeting transcript, so like we're over here, or right after the meeting, we literally just open up Handy and just do a brain dump of the entire conversation. And that's the fastest way, right? You're not even thinking about typing. Brain dump it, put this into a GPT prompt, so put it into Gemini or ChatGPT and say, hey, give me the exact notes or the transcript, exact notes and action items, and then the AI model can clean it up and give it to you, right? So this is one of those easy flows that we use on a day-to-day basis. Right after a meeting, convert that into action items and send that out either as an email or as a task list or whatever. Okay. All right, so let's now pair what we've learned with Handy, or what we've seen with Handy, in terms of getting what you have in your mind into a computer. Right? This is probably where you as a leader need to, sort of embrace this technology to get faster at doing anything on a computer. Now, the second most important sort of skill set is the ability to present things as an idea. By the way, you can see the slide as well. It's a dump of, how, which I'll show in a moment. NotebookLM is a fantastic tool from Google where we can quickly get all of our content in, and then it can process it and create slides, create infographics, create podcasts, and really put the unstructured nature of data into something that's structured. So how many of you have used NotebookLM in the past? And I will just give a quick poll question over here. So just curious to know how many people have used it. I see a couple of good thumbs ups, very good. Good number of people have no, so that's exciting. And if you have used NotebookLM in the past, trust me, when you combine it with Handy, you will be 10 times superior to everyone else around you. Like literally this slide, 30 seconds. I'll show you. So let's open up NotebookLM. By the way, you can see all of these slides that I made is literally a dump of my notes that I might have just fed in just by transcripting. Or, so you can see the car slide is exactly this. So I was able to just literally dump in my text and I got this. Okay, let me just not overwhelm you with this. Let's start on a clean slate. So the site for this is notebooklm.google.com, and I'll just paste that in the chat. Lokesh, can you paste this into all chat and in the WhatsApp group as well, just so that everyone in the audience has it? That's notebooklm.google.com, and this is part of Google's suite of software, and I'll just give you a quick walkthrough how to use it. And hopefully it'll unlock a lot of ideas. And what I love about NotebookLM, it's sort of like one tool that does so many things. Just being aware of 3 out of the 10 things it does can make you a lot faster in so many things. Like, for example, the slides that I showed you, they were all made in the last 1 hour, pretty much. Yeah. So for those who love procrastinating till the very last moment, this is the tool for you. Okay, so what all can this do? So NotebookLM is really designed as a tool that can take all sorts of information, either files or text or PDFs or PowerPoints, and allows you to generate outputs like this. So things like audio overview, mind maps, quizzes, reports, slides. Who loves making slides? Okay, not a lot of hands up. But for people who enjoy making slides, you're going to love this even more. And people who don't are going to find it to be a lifesaver. So let me just demonstrate. Let's say I want to create some quick slides over here. So I'm not going to go with any other previous document. I'm just going to go with what I've learned just now, which is using handy.computer. And I'm going to say, let's see, it's the start of the year 2026. So I want to, let's say, set some business goals for my company. So let me just speak my business goals and say, so this year for Quantana, a 97-person AI design development company, we're going to grow our organization by creating more AI products for a range of industries in insurance, in mining, in pharmaceuticals. And we're also going to focus on team bonding and increasing the culture of using AI as a company. So everyone in the company embraces AI across the board. And we're also going to party more, and we're going to have a lot more fun, because that's what we as an organization are here for, to have fun, do good work, work with great clients, and grow. Okay, so you can see here, I have just spoken this out, and it has dumped in exactly what I've said, and it's even kept the 97 over here. Sorry for the cross promotion over here, but it's kind of the best example I can think of at the top of my head. And I'm just going to insert this in. So I've actually just clicked on add sources and then copy text so that I can just speak it out loud. So it's got this on the left side as a source. And now this content is loaded into this. And let me just call this 2026 business goals. Okay. So now that I have one set of content here, now I can keep adding a lot more. I can add my annual reports. I can add every sort of file. In fact, NotebookLM, I think, can go up to 200 files, and is a great place to just dump a lot of project data and quickly get some information and infographics from. So the fastest way I tend to learn is as a visual learner. So I'll just dump stuff and literally just click on infographic, which may not right now work, but let me see if it does work. Might say I'm out. Oh, I'm out right now, but I will just pretend the same thing works. So infographics, what it does is it creates a graphic of the exact content that you have, but slide deck actually uses infographics to generate the same. So looks like I just timed out of this, but hopefully you wouldn't have. So I'll ask you if you can just check that out. Let's see how this does. Some of you might have also used Nano Banana. You can drop the same content in and it'll generate a similar sort of infographic, but somehow I find NotebookLM's infographics to be even better. So hopefully while this is being generated, please everyone try opening NotebookLM, using Handy to get the content in and generating a slide or an infographic from that. I'll stay online for a couple of minutes while everybody try. Yes, this is a try it yourself moment over here. So I hope you're trying it right now. So I'm just going to keep a 3-minute timer. So the whole idea is you open up NotebookLM, you kind of just say anything. I'm just going to do business goals of my company, but you can do anything else, and ask it to create some slides. Okay, sorry, I missed a couple of WhatsApp updates. If you are trying to type into this, the way it works is wherever the cursor is, you can just speak it. So this is a test message. Hi there. And for those of you who are joining in live, there is a WhatsApp group. I really appreciate all the people who are commenting and helping each other. Amazing people who are already using it to reply on WhatsApp. Fantastic. Okay, so hopefully you're getting it stuff into Handy and you're also using it to generate infographics like this, for example. If you're listening to me and you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, there should be a link in the chat to join. So please do join via that. Some of you, I think if you're using a Mac, you might need to switch to a different version. There are two versions for Macs. One is the Silicon one and the Intel one. I have tested this on both versions, so.
What about iPad? There was a question in the personal chat.
Yeah, so what was that?
What about the iPad? How to install in iPad?
This is just designed for computers, so it's not there for iPad. iPad, I mean, if you use the iPhone, just the keyboard and the normal typing thing, that's pretty much the functionality that you have in Handy. So keyboard, speech-to-text button is pretty much whatever is there in Handy. Okay, so people who are having issues installing, once you install, it will likely ask you, or it'll show you something to install a specific model. So select Parakeet 3. That should be the default recommended option. By the way, don't worry if you're having a couple of issues. We're going slowly. This is meant to be a everyone joining in kind of session. And using a tool like this, you know, over the lifetime of things you need to type, just think about it. Every day, how much do we type? Okay. I'm having some issues on WhatsApp copy pasting as well. Sure. Of course, it's a live show, so Murphy's Law should kick in. Okay, some of you are having issues on Windows. Which? Okay, don't worry. If you're not able to do it live within this, for today. So if you're used to using ChatGPT or Gemini, you do have a dictation mode over here, which even in ChatGPT, there's a version of it over here. So you can use that to just for temporarily to just get data in. But I'll try and unblock whoever has it. Yeah, okay, so people who were able to install it, there will be an option that comes up that just says, there'll be an options page that comes up where you can set the shortcut to either command and space. Hello, this is a message. Yeah, control or space or command and space. Yes. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Okay. Did you speak directly into Notebook LM? Yes. So I opened up Notebook LM and I directly add sources, copy text. This is my text. Okay. don't worry if you're not able to install it right away. There might be certain version issues, etc. We'll get this sorted. That's what this group is for. We have an amazing community, so don't worry about it if you're not able to install it right away. We'll continue on this for now, okay? The whole idea is that speech-to-text is a huge unlock for productivity. I would definitely recommend anybody to use it, everybody to use it, and really think of the mental model of, why am I typing so much? I should just be able to speak it. In fact, the way I've set up in my productivity is I don't even press Command and space. I have it in my mouse where I can press and hold and let go, and it'll convert it into text. Yeah, so that's possible now if you have the right kind of gaming mouse or etc. But for most people, just having this is a huge unlocker. If this is not working for you right away, as of this very moment, then you can open up any ChatGPT or even your phone, just speak into this and it'll convert it into text. The only difference with this is, ChatGPT sending this to a server, whereas Handy.Computer runs it entirely locally. So hopefully most of you are able to get this going. We'll continue with this. If you're still blocked, I would request some of the geekier folks on the WhatsApp group to assist each other, and so we can unblock and move on. Okay, so as you can see over here, this is in fact the entire notebook LM that I use to create all these slides. So you can see here, I've got these different slides that you would have seen. For example, this one is the audience profile infographic. This is one version, which I didn't show you yet, but you can see it's made this, and including the people in the room, different professions, where they're from, and some logos. Now, I just want to call your attention to two things. So one is, whenever you're creating any of these infographics or slides, again, these are sort of interchangeable from your outcome that you want. Sometimes you just want a single slide, sometimes you want multiple slides. In fact, the slides that you saw at the beginning, that was entirely made 3 hours ago. So, I wasn't delaying it till the very end, but you can see the slides it has made 3 hours ago. Now, the limitation with these slides are they're not directly editable. That's a limitation as of January 2026. But over time, I expect that to be a solution that'll be coming up. So I'm sure if it's not there right now, then it will come up in the future. And one of the probably biggest takeaways that I had from a quote from a JPMC CEO was, if you're not frustrated with AI of today, you're not using it well enough. So which means that there are limits to AI as of January 2026, which may be solved in March 2026, December 2026, 2027. But you should be hitting those limits in terms of saying, hey, why doesn't it do it yet? So you should definitely feel a sense of, hey, it can do more. But for you to get to that point, you should be using these tools already. Okay, yeah. So now you asked me, I think there's a question about slides. By the way, I'm skipping all the downloads thing. Just put it on WhatsApp group for now. We will unblock you throughout this. So just be aware of what's possible, and each of these you can start using tomorrow. Okay, so different things that I've put in. So all of these are infographics over here. You can see here the learning roadmap, different productivity pyramid. Let's see. It has created this infographic, which I didn't show you yet, but again, can you imagine how long this would have taken to create manually? Just, this is at least 2 days of a designer's work, and assuming they are knowing exactly what they can think of and just imagine the right things for you. This was pretty much with a clean prompt. And what I mean by that is I selected my text. So one of the texts that I'd put in, and let's say Handy Computer, and I just clicked on this directly. Now, the pro tip is if you click on this pen icon, what it does is it gives you this customized infographic option, and you can actually choose the language to something else. In fact, you'd be surprised at the range of this as well. So you can actually choose, let's see, Yeah, there's all sorts of variants of Indian languages. There's Korean, Japanese, there's Telugu, there's all of that. You can also choose what you want the infographic to be. So here again, Handy is a good friend. You can say, create an infographic focusing on only two things. On the left side, I should see the type of AI. On the right side, I should see the type of user. I see I've typed that in like 2 seconds, and I can click generate. And if I generate that, it'll again take about 15 seconds. So practically speaking, it takes longer for the AI to create the thing for me than it takes for me to give the input. And that's the kind of productivity that you should be thinking about in pretty much everything that you do, that you should not be the bottleneck. The AI should be the bottleneck. So that's the ideal position that I want people to be. Now, over here, there's some other small nuances where you can select all the files that you've uploaded and said, create a slide deck, and it will create some slides based on everything. Or you can select only, 1 or 2 of these files and say, create any of these. There are some fun ones, like you can ask for a podcast. So if somebody sends you a 400-page report and you don't want to read all of it, but you can ask it to create an audio file that summarizes this for you, and then you can play it while you're driving to work or you're just doing something else. This is a fun one when you want to learn something, and it actually creates a very amazing 2-person conversation that you can listen to. So this is a very good fun use case when you want to learn something new. I use this when I'm sent some material from a client to read, and I just want something running in the background while I'm doing something else. So this is quite an effective one for learning. Mind maps, again, very effective for creating visual ideas organized into bubbles so that you can quickly see what the entire content is about. So again, I can show you the mind map. It sort of just takes my entire content box, and you can see that it's neatly structured all of the data that I dumped at it since today, and kind of put it in as things that you will learn. For example, AI tools, LLM tools, capture and transcription. We're on that right now. Analysis and ideation, which we're discussing. Content creation, advanced workflows, so prompting strategies, automation. This will come in due course. So you can see here, it's taken all this data and quickly created a nice little summary of things that we're going to cover. And you can see here, look at that. And you can probably guess again how much time this would have taken, right? I just threw a lot of content that I just narrated verbally, or I had previous slides on, and it's kind of nicely segmented that into, speech to text, meeting assistant, which practically does the same thing, but it, joins my meeting. Whisper flows, what I was recommending until I met Handy.computer. Whisper flow is a paid tool. Handy is a free tool. So we have the benefit of being in January 2026, where this is now a best practice, and it's free. And we're now talking about Notebook LM. We'll go into some of these in future sessions. So we'll kind of pause over here. All right. So Notebook LM is a fantastic tool. We use it for generating slides. We use it for generating infographics. We use it for understanding new material. It can drastically reduce your ability to inform your team. So anytime you want to present an idea these days at our organization, even our most junior members are just expected to create infographics and share it. So the ability to convert what you have in your head into something visual is a #1 skill that I see everyone in our organization really embracing. And so if that's something like you, where you have all these amazing ideas in your head and you're just struggling to get somebody else to take it up, just spit it out into text and create an infographic and share it. And like I said, some of these prompts, this required no extra prompting. This was no extra prompting. This was pretty much my notes that it took it. And the way Notebook LM also works is it doesn't go out of the scope of documents that you have shared. And by default, it sticks to only what you have marked as, please use this as a source. So this is, again, addresses one of the biggest concerns of, oh no, is this going to hallucinate everything, right? No, it's only going to use what it has been provided. By the way, some of you, in case you're not aware, Gemini Pro is free for all Geo users. So you can just go to Gemini Geo offer, and this is free for everybody who has a Geo number or any sort of plan. It doesn't require you to be the person having the number. You just need to open the app and select the offer and give your Gmail. So I would highly recommend it. 2025, 2026 is the season of free AI. Definitely give it a shot. It's quite worth it. Can't beat free, can we? So definitely recommend that. By the way, I have a corporate account, so we're paying for Gemini as an enterprise. So when we do that, we have certain options like making sure that our data is not used for training anywhere. So there are certain settings that you can sort of put in and say, don't use my data for any other training. I'll send you a separate image on how to do that. It's there in ChatGPT, it's there in Gemini. So all of the AI tools, you can basically mark, don't use my AI for training, don't use my data for training. Just set it up by default. It's as good as it gets legally for not using your information for anything else. So, I mean, think about it. If you're already using Gmail or Microsoft for your email, you're using somebody else's server. So if you trust Google to that extent of your personal emails, and if you trust Microsoft to the extent of client information, as pretty much you can use their AI models. That's as good as it gets. Okay, so we just talked about how we can have, say, slides or infographics. So just to recap, I had just clicked copy text because I'm just typing in the text, and I had just used Handy to input this data in, and I clicked on slides. So let's just see how the slides came out. So remember, this is from one paragraph, and let's see what it's done. 2020X, okay. We're 97 strong, and market expansion, internal fluency, and human connection. Okay, good. Look at that. It's just very creative choice of metal, glass, and wood. There's no way we could have done this in like the 10 seconds that it took. We're pivoting, so again, it's got some content here, different industries that we're looking at, the old way, then AI native way. Again, really very nicely visual. And having fun, yeah. Okay, so it's done some nice slides. It's got its nice aesthetic, etc. So it's done a fairly good job. I can recreate a version of this if I want, and I can download it as a PDF and make some edits in another tool. So right now, as of Jan 2026, editing a PDF is basically putting some box on top and putting some text to kind of hide the old text. That's a problem statement. As of today, I can almost guarantee you in about 3 to 6 months, there will be a easier way to edit this. There are some other presentation tools that can generate slides, but of all the tools we've used, this one is by far the most visually stunning tool. And you know, we're making it work purely on the basis of just how good it is visually. So from text to visual artifacts, like I said, using Notebook LM to quickly just give some transcript. This is just an example of a transcript. This is an example of a visual artifact, right? So don't just generate empty slides. Use these for generating graphs and ideas. Cool. Anyone still stuck on any of this Notebook LM or Handy? Just drop it in the WhatsApp group as well. There's one more thing I want to showcase from a productivity standpoint, which I think is quite valuable. And okay, some of you I think have posted not able to see type a text. So that should be in add sources and then copy text. So over here and here. Okay. All right. Let me just see if I can drop this image in. Don't worry, some of these things I will just give you a cleaner document right after this that you guys can follow along. So if you're stuck in any way, you can just follow that along. Don't stress too much, guys. Don't worry. We've we've gone through this in different aspects, so we will make sure that this is also sorted. Let me just quickly generate this. All right. Okay, so to recap, we've looked at Handy, we looked at Notebook LM. These are sort of the two things that I find very valuable in our day-to-day. Like I said, there are hundreds of tools that we've tried, used it to as much as it can, and sort of settled on these right now as the best sort of tools in their class. This may change again in 3 months, but as of today, this is pretty much the best that we can do. All right, now there's a couple of key concepts that I want to quickly run through. One is the power of meta prompting. Okay, all right, listen in, come closer. No, not too close, that's fine. That's a good distance. Okay, so the concept of meta prompting is, see, you can give like some quick text and ask AI to do something. But what a meta prompt does is take your original text, sort of supercharge it. It's like giving it a bolt of electricity and becoming a Superman kind of thing. And then that prompt is what you send to an AI model to do the final output. So let's take a simple example. Right now, I just said, create a slide based on my business goals, etc. Right? So it might be even like a product that I might have that I need to flesh out and give more information to the final AI. So let me give you an example. So let's just say I want to create a PRD. Now, what is a PRD? What is a PRD? A PRD is a product requirements document. So if you are a project manager, product manager, manager, usually you need to document something. And usually the document will contain some scope of a project or something, right? So this can be anything. This can be a statement of work. This can be a project plan, whatever you call it. I'm sure every single manager, founder, owner will need to produce some sort of document that articulates the goals of the product, right? So this may vary for every single person. That's fine. But let's say we need to now produce such a document. So I can again once again use Handy and say, I want to build a online platform for connecting alumni where I can share my recordings and prompts and discussion and other ideas and contacts. Create a PRD. So I've just gave like a one sentence kind of thing and said create a PRD. So now this particular thing, I'm just going to run it to see what happens, right? So now this particular thing, it's going to try and create something that it assumes is fine, again, to the level of detail that it could. Now, because I've been working with this, LLM, this Gemini for long enough that it kind of knows what I'm saying, it kind of knows what I'm looking for. In fact, the same thing, I can open ChatGPT again and do the same thing. I'll just do that just so you can see what that output might look like. Okay, so it's going to give me some version of it, right? Again, these are already fairly mature, so they're more or less going to get it in line with what I have in mind. But let's say that's not a territory that I have in mind, right? So now let me go ahead and show you what can be done better. Let me see, it should be there in meta prompt. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, instead of just giving like text out of my head, I'm going to send a meta prompt and say, convert this as a prompt into a more richer kind of prompt. So in this case, I can just copy paste it directly, whatever my idea was, and it'll do much better. So this prompt, let me just take this and place this here. Now this already has some context, so oops. I'm just going to show this for you, and then you can do the same yourself. Okay, so I've copied this whole thing, which is like a really strong prompt based on my experience that this could work. And I'm also saying the context is below. Now, this is like one sentence I gave, right? So this is not a lot of context, so hopefully it will do a fairly decent job. I'll just let this run. The ChatGPT as well, I will let this run. By the way, I'm using ChatGPT and Gemini interchangeably. Every 30, 40 days, one of them is better than the other. In January 2026, Gemini is slightly better. In February, that might change back. So most of the functionality is very similar across each other. I'd say the key differentiator Google has is specific tools like Notebook LM, and their image generation is definitely better than ChatGPT at the moment. So Nano Banana is definitely superior at Gemini and Google at this moment, but maybe ChatGPT will catch up in a couple of months. So stay tuned. Okay, so now I've pasted the whole thing, and it has actually says, things like the business problem, the personas, the user journeys, the timelines, the budget, risks, etc. Right? So it's kind of given me a very detailed kind of document, detailed kind of scope for this particular use case. So where this becomes very powerful is if you have a prompt like this, and this can vary based on your business, etc. Literally, you can just hang on to a couple of these prompts, and you can make this accessible to your team, and you'll find that this is almost like an SOP of things that you need, right? And here you, instead of just a dump, you can actually create like an entire transcript of an entire meeting, and then ask it to create a PRD. So one of the use cases that we find very effective here at Quantana is we basically transcribe the entire meeting. It's like a 60-minute, almost 1,000 lines of text, and we just dump it at the bottom along with this at the top and say, create this document. And then it creates this document, and then we can then take the output of that, put it into Notebook LM, and create slides. So we're able to create slides from a meeting within minutes to hours, what would have taken like an entire week, a lot of back and forth with people, and creating the same thing. So this is one such prompt. And in fact, this isn't anything super detailed or super great from that perspective. I'll just paste this in the chat channel if you want to check this out. This is just one example. Again, now, how did I create this? This again, I went to Gemini and said, create a prompt where I can paste in the transcript of a meeting, and it should output a product requirements document in the form of, say, 7 sections. The first one's an executive summary. The second is a user journey, user personas, then followed by user journey, then the modules, the timelines, the budget, and any risks and terms and conditions. There you go. So you see here, I've said create a prompt. Now I could have said create a PRD, but I said create a prompt with what I have in mind. So let's say I'm the SME. I know how a good PRD should look like. So I say, when I type in the transcript, convert it into the final output, but the output should look like this. And I say create a prompt. And then this prompt is now the prompt that I can then paste in and say, paste this in, right? So you can see here, there's some of the best practices. By the way, in the next session, we will take up how to create the best kind of prompts. And this is an example of a very good prompt, which is what is the role, what is the task, what is the tone. These are some of the details that when we're saying, create a PRD, we don't think about, but the LLM is just hungry for that information. And if you don't give it that, it will make it up. So it's always better that you first create a prompt to give you the output, and then you give the context of whatever information that you need to give the final output. So this is just one use case. And again, I've said, create this this product. So let's just say I take all of this. It's even given, it kind of knows my style right now because I use this so often. And so I'll just take all of this and dump it into a new Notebook LM. Copy text. So I've opened Notebook LM. I've copied the entire PRD text output, and I'm clicking insert. Okay, let's copy that in, and I'll just click slide deck because I have to present my product idea to my client or senior management in the next 1 minute, and I don't have any slides, and so I just did a verbal dump of my idea. I had a pre-existing prompt, meta prompt enhancer, just to make it a little bit more richer, and I get this, let's see. And this is the most time taking of making a slide in this entire process. By the way, I hope you are trying this or have tried this. I know some of you are struggling to get all of it going, but if you are able to do that, that would be great. Don't worry, if you are stuck, you can just come back to listen and follow along this. The recordings of this will be provided as well. And we have the entire next couple of weeks together as a special team to help each other. So we will be there for you. Don't worry. Okay, so this is going to take some time. Okay, so we'll come back to this in a moment while these slides are happening. And I want to give you one more use case for today before we wrap up, and then we'll wrap up with a couple of questions, etc. If you're stuck on any technical thing, we'll maybe just have like a one-on-one session with you just to unblock the installs and that sort of thing. Yeah, just keep posting if you're stuck on it. It might just be a technical issue, but hopefully we'll get that unblocked. Okay, so now that I've mentioned this meta prompting, and we've also talked about how to create visuals. Yeah, so you can, again, this Gamma is another tool which I mentioned in the past. Notebook LM does sort of practically similar work, so this is fine. And Nano Banana is just the image generation within Gemini. So, you know, these are just quick wins that you can use. Okay, so the final use case, which I guess very, very few people are using, which is very not surprising given that it's kind of like a fairly niche use case. But as a leader, manager, QA person, you know, this I find to be quite a useful use case. And this one is something called, which I call the virtual mirror, right? So imagine this, there's a client you've signed up with and they have very exacting requirements. So your team, you've assigned some task to work on, and they've come back with either a report or an infographic or a logo or a text or whatever it is. They have come back to you and said, hey, is this going to make the client happy, right? So you know, understand the client, you know everything about the client. Your team doesn't have that level of awareness. And this is just one use case of using this, but you can basically create like a virtual mirror or virtual client and use that GPT to validate whatever the output from your team was, right? So I'll give you an example. So we've recently signed up with a client that needed some branding work for a salon in Hyderabad. So they wanted a custom, very nice looking aesthetics salon that they've opened up. Sorry, it's a clinic that they've opened up. And they wanted to be able to create a logo and merchandise and a whole lot of that. So they came to us and said, hey, they want a very specific style of the branding, of the logo, etc. And they wanted to look exactly like this. So what I did was I took that entire meeting transcript and said, create a persona of the client with their requirements. And I fed this into a GPT, into a gem. Now, in Gemini, they're called gems. In ChatGPT, they're called custom GPTs, but they're practically the same thing. So what you can do is you can give this particular AI a personality, right? So in this case, I'm giving the personality of a client. So let's say, for example, my team has done a lot of hard work and they've created this logo. It's 67 Sports. Okay, so let me just go to my GPT. This is my client. This is my virtual client. How is this? Okay, so now it's going to pretend to be my client and say, it's going to analyze the output, and it's a visual output. It could be a document, it could be a report, etc. And it scores it a 2.5 out of 5. That's not good enough. And it'll actually tell me why it didn't like it. It said, well, it's green, and the font is weird, the spelling is weird, etc. And it says it's not good. So it's a 2.5. So without the image even coming to me, I can just share this with my team and say, hey, do whatever you can, but get this above a 4, only then come to me, right? So let's say I've taken another logo, like this one. So here I've actually corrected a few things. I've put it purple. It's slightly better. So let's just see how that looks like. So let me go, how is this instead? Okay. Oh, I'm missing the mark. Okay. It got 57 correct. Oh, it's still like 1.5. So it's actually suggesting as a client, like I want something blue and I want something like purposeful and abstract, right? It's saying I want something else. So I'm like, okay, let me see if I can give it another one. Let's see how this works. How's this? Okay, this is also not the final design, by the way. I'm just giving you as an example. I just generated this a couple of moments ago. And let's see. Now we're talking. It's a massive step in the right direction. It's more aligned for the authentic professional. It has the color palette. It has 5 and 7. It's integrated into the face. So it's able to understand it and say yes. And it gave a rating of 4.5. So what I've done here effectively, think about it. I've kind of created a virtual customer or virtual QA for some whatever documents and said, given this to my team and said, do whatever you want, make this virtual customer happy. And if you get a score above 4.5 or 4 or whatever you've set as a threshold, then come to me. So this is one of those productivity hacks that can be used in pretty much any domain where you don't want to be the person seeing every single version, but sort of have like a minimum quality standard that is theirs and standard for the entire team, right? So maybe you have branding guidelines, maybe you have content guidelines, maybe you have a report that always has to meet certain standards. You can feed it into the system, share it within your team, and they can then use it to make sure that it doesn't break the standards. And I'll show you now how we do this. And if you have any specific questions on this, please feel free to ask. And I hope this was new to people. I can almost guarantee you there's nobody on this call who has used this like this, even if you have used GEMS. So if you have used it, good stuff. But okay, all right, let's look at this. So let's see, edit. Now I'm going to show you the magic sauce. This is what I've done. I just clicked edit. And I said act as a client. That's pretty much what I wanted to do. And here's the brief. Act as a client. Whenever something is uploaded, give a critique, including why you like it, areas of improvement, and a final rating on a 1 to 5 scale. And then I gave these client personas, be authentic, they are medically qualified, they are aware, they have a background. So again, all of these inputs, by the way, came from our first meeting, where literally that was the transcript of the meeting. And I pasted the entire transcript into Gemini and said, create a client persona based on this transcript. And it has done that. So you can see that colors, gender neutral, muted tones like ash gray, sand color gold, and Oxford blue, traditional feminine palettes like purples, okay. Somehow we didn't like the pure purple, but okay, it likes this. Communication, how they speak. So it's actually quite a lot. So the same virtual client can be used for analyzing blog content, for analyzing social media graphics, for analyzing email outbound templates, etc. Right? This is now like a QA for our client. So before it goes to our client, this AI will check it, give a score, and with areas of improvement. Now, is it 100% perfect? No. But will it save me time from reviewing every single thing, or even our lead reviewing every single thing? Like the bottom-out person can directly start using it to QA? 100%. It will save a huge amount of time. You can also give it more files and context. You can say, here are examples of other reports and documents, etc. And you can analyze that. So that's it. So I just said act as a client and gave it some brief. And specifically, I asked the content to give like this. And yeah, and you can You can test it here as well if you want. And it's pretty much usable as is. It'll also tell me, it's pretending to be a client. So it's like, hello, I'm really looking forward to how you can bring the vision to life. As a doctor, I'm naturally curious, and I'm ready when you are. Go and share your first piece of work, whether it's logo, concept, social post, or some copy, and I'll give you my honest thoughts. So you can see that this is a force multiplier. Again, maybe you can use it for clients. Maybe you can use it for others. I've just created an empty one in this fresh account. But you can now share this. You can share this with anyone. You can edit it or viewer. So editor is, viewer is enough to share this with anybody. And when you share this, you can let your team sort of use it, bounce stuff off. And as you can see, the score of the final rating, this is the stuff, I guess they don't teach you anywhere, but while experimenting, I realized this is one very effective way of creating a final score in evaluation. So don't just give text, ask it to give a score. And usually give the score after some evaluation. So again, these are some of the things in prompt engineering that you might pick up on, is always ask it to give the reasoning and then give the final score. If you ask it to give the final score and then give the reasoning, it kind of works backwards to justify it, and the number just came out of nowhere. Whereas if you ask it to give the pros and cons and then give a final rating, it'll give a more reasonable rating. So this is a great example. Again, think in your use cases, Word documents, reports, slides, graphics, media. It's able to analyze that. Okay, so for those who are able to follow along, we will quickly do this. We've got about 10 minutes of budgeted time to make this happen, and then we'll open for questions and kind of go through them. Okay, so how did we do this? Go to Gemini. So you're in Gemini, and you'll see a section called Gems. So if you click on that, there's multiple gems over here. Just click on New Gem, and you can basically say, let's say brand guidelines verifier, right? And you can basically say things like, this gem will verify any documentation to ensure that we are meeting our corporate brand guidelines. You are a brand manager who is very strict on maintaining brand guidelines. If you are given any documents or PDFs or images, you will ensure that it meets the corporate brand guidelines, and you will analyze the document that is shared or the artifact that is provided and give a score out of 5 at the end. First, you will evaluate what is working well as per brand guideline, and then what is not working well and what needs to be fixed immediately, and finally a score of a fit on a scale of 1 to. So I've gave this output now. I don't have any brand guidelines immediately, but you can actually upload a brand guidelines PDF, or you can basically feed that in separately over here saying brand guidelines. And then, I can just ask Gemini to make up some brand guidelines. Sure, this is completely wrong. I'll have a conversation with you later. But it's a good starting point. So I'll just use this. Again, at some point you would have these documents somewhere. I'll just paste it in, click save, and that's it. So now I have a AI. I don't want to use the word agent, but you might hear people call this a custom agent, but we can just call it a virtual AI, virtual persona, etc. And now this is good enough to analyze anything. Analyze this tagline: we love partying and coding. So I can pretty much take whatever you send and analyze it and say, yeah, it works, but it doesn't work. So 1 out of 5. We're not a social club. we're foundational architecture for the next era, right? So you can sort of imagine you're outsourcing the scolding for your team, saying, please verify with this. Okay, I hope you were able to follow along with this. I'll take a quick pause over here. And hopefully you're able to follow along. Again, Gemini, gems, new gem, and go from there. So I'll just do a quick countdown timer, 3-minute timer. And nothing new will be shown. I'll just check some of the messages and see if there's anything we can unlock. Okay, I think Srinivasan sir is getting stuck on something. Srinivasan sir, let me call you right after this. Maybe we'll walk through this. Anyone else stuck on any of this? We discussed Handy, Gemini, and Gems, and Notebook LM. Thanks, Ritika.
Vishal, there are 4 hands raised. Can we ask them?
Yeah, I think that's the intent of this session. So pretty much I've done my show and tell. So anyone who wants to come up and say something. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Mr. Badri Ramanujan, if you are there, you can ask the question.
Have you given speaking access, Lokesh?
Yeah.
Okay, it says yet to authorize. Okay, if anyone wants to ask a specific question, Lokesh is enabling mic on for people who raise their hand. So if you want to ask something, please raise your hand.
Okay, Garima, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, I think a couple of you raised your hands a long time back. So if you raised it and your issue has been resolved, please put it back down. Lokesh, you're just enabling mic for everybody, I hope. Thank you.
Hey, it's Govind here, just checking if I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you fine. Go for it.
Hi, Vishal. I mean, this is amazing. I have been involved with AI for some time, but yeah, a lot of new things to learn from just this last hour. One question I had, Airtel gives Perplexity Pro.
Yeah.
You're saying Geo gives Gemini. I mean, is there a way we can look at Perplexity and whether that helps in some of these?
Yeah. So Perplexity, I'm a fan of for doing research and pretty much use it as a research agent from that perspective. So at least for creating GPTs and general day-to-day conversation, I don't use it. The main use case I love Perplexity is for creating YouTube summaries. So of all the other AI tools, so I can just go to YouTube and it's going to be all funny stuff. Let's see. Government surveillance for friends. Yeah, should we pause AI? Okay, let's do this. Summarize. So Perplexity I love for creating YouTube summaries. That's something that I really like. The other ones I think don't do it as well, but otherwise I use it primarily for research and just reading news. It's free, so definitely do sign up. Airtel Perplexity deal. Yeah. So for things like gems and things like Notebook LM, Gemini is tied to that. So that's why I would generally push for more Gemini right now, but you can also sign up for Perplexity and use it for research as well. And
Sounds good. Thanks, Vishal.
We'll also have a separate session on deep research and research as well, and how to create sort of master prompts and use it for lead generation, that sort of thing. So that's an upcoming session.
Hey, hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Milind here?
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, hi, Vishal. This slide deck which you left, has it now come up? And can we have a look at that?
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah. Let's see.
And my next question basically is, I'm not able to figure out how to copy the slide deck into a PowerPoint.
Okay, so this is where the current limitations of these slides are. So you can download it. But let me play this for you. So this is the slides that were generated. But just to recollect, I basically asked for how do I create an alumni portal, and it's created this from the slides. Yeah. Again, the more and more the skill set is not just creation of slides, but you as a leader evaluating whether it's correct or not, making corrections, making fixes, etc. Wow, it's done quite a decent job of the visuals here. The way we end up using it right now is that all of these slides come out as images. So to be frank, these are not directly in PowerPoint editable, but we import them in as a PowerPoint PDF. And so each slide becomes one image, and then you can either put boxes on it or crop it off. So over here. So you can see each one is now a slide here. Let's say I want to change something. And this is the part you're going to hate me for and be like, Vishal, this is so disappointing. What do you mean I have to do this now? There a better way. There will be a better way. It's not there today. No, it's disappointing.
So essentially you download it and then you use it. That's what you say, right?
Yeah, download and then we use it. Yeah, pretty much.
Because I have found that downloading it again on a mobile is quite cumbersome. On a laptop, I have not really tried, but I'll try that.
Yeah, so I guess when we're making slides, we end up, using our laptop, etc. But again, to be candid here, the slides from Kellam come out as images. So as of 2026, you kind of have to the whiteout and then change the text.
The voice is very choppy, Vishal. Not able to hear you.
Sorry. So as of today, each slide comes out as an image, and then we edit those and use the parts of the image. Sorry. Can everyone else go on mute once? Sorry. Yeah. So each slide comes out as an image, and then we can change the text as if it was an image. It's not immediately editable as of now. There are some other tools that can take this as a text content and generate more slides. So the way we are using it today is we use just the images part of the slides. Yeah.
Hey, Vishal, because it's a Google tool, is there a way to get a Google Slides or something out of this? The generated slides?
It isn't right now as good as it could be. So it does import the slides in, but it comes out as images. So as of today, it doesn't generate the slides entirely on its own. Yeah. Even the slides that we opened over
I
here,
would like to stick
you
you
can
because
just
I'm
pretty much it'll just
completely
download
lost.
as a PDF.
Secondly, this handy.
Okay. Yeah. Hello,
Is
sir.
it possible to do it on mobile?
So slides. Yeah. So it's meant to be a computer tool only, because on mobile you don't even need handy. Like if you're using Android or your iOS, at the bottom there's a keyboard icon and as a mic icon. And
sorry, I should not have asked that.
So effectively, it replaces that because there's no.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's an understandable question. But so if you embrace this kind of tool and the way to just get data in on computer is all you need. On your phone, you already have the mic. Okay. I hope that answers your questions. And for people who are asking, can't I just edit the images? Perfect. I want you to be angry. I want you to be like, it does this much. Can't it do another 10%? Yes. You should be hitting the limits of all these tools and wondering, why is it so annoying to get this far? And then have faith that in another 3 to 6 months, it will be there. So if you're already hitting the limits, that's a very good sign. Okay. I'll go to the next person. If you're done speaking, please, you can turn off your mute and raise, lower your hand
Vishal,
so
I
that
have
others can
questions.
speak.
Vishal, I have questions.
Yes.
One is
Sure.
I've not been able to successfully download neither Handy nor LLM, though I tried all that. It just stops at some point,
Okay.
doesn't really help me interact. Two is, yes, because of
Oh,
that, I could not, gel along the rest of the sessions. I don't want to come in the next week without having done
no,
this week's work properly.
yeah,
So I need some
yeah.
handholding.
Okay. We'll do another, maybe just after all the questions, we'll do a detailed walkthrough of how you can set up. So
Okay.
if one is still stuck on installing Handy, we'll just stay on for another 10-15 minutes.
Okay.
There. So any other questions other than installing Handy or?
And notebook LM, nothing. And yes, because of that, I could not really walk through with you with everything. So
Okay, okay. No worries, no worries. But you were able to see everything, right? Yes, okay. All right, who else do we have on? Garima?
Hi Vishal, this is Ritika.
Oh, hey Ritika, long time.
Hello, thank you for the session. It's been super amazing to learn about Notebook LM, and then the persona thing has blown me away. So about that, you shared some very interesting part of tell it to rate first and tell it to analyze first and then rate. I wanted to really get that text and that nuance. I mean, like I wanted to go through it again. If you could share it, would love to kind of build that into as I build the persona.
Yeah. So now, okay, this is where understanding how LLMs work is helpful. So think of it this way. If I ask you to solve a maths problem and you give me the answer directly, you're sort of, I can't 100% trust it. But if I ask you to kind of talk through every step and then you give me an answer, that's much more reasonable, right? So if I say, Ritika, can you evaluate this report as a human being and say, is it good or bad? And give me a rating on 1 to 5. But don't just give me the first number that comes to your head. Think through it. And so then you'll say, okay, what are the pros? You'll write down what are the pros. Then you'll write down what are the cons. And then you'll read all of that, and then you will give the final number. So the way AI works right now is it's basically auto-completing and generating the text one at a time. So when it gives the final number or the rating, if it has the context of the responses of what is good, what is bad. So for example, over here, yeah. So here it's why I like it, which is what is good, and why I don't like it, areas of improvement. And then I give it a final rating. Then it's taking this context and then giving me the rating. So instead, if I'd asked this to give me a rating, it'll give a rating here. Let's say it'll make up something like it's a 3.5. And now it'll actually try to justify the 3.5 by giving reasons. So it kind of acts like a human does, right? Like just, Ritika, please analyze this logo. And you might say, yeah, that's a 3 out of 5. And now you're thinking, why is it a 3 out of 5? Oh, because of this, because of this. But if I say, Ritika, give me reasons why it's good, then give me reasons why it's bad. Think about all of this, keep it in your head, and then give me a final number. So that's why the rating at the end is a much more reliable way of writing the prompt.
Perfect. Yeah, understood that. Super helpful. And the second part, so with Notebook LM, we cannot edit the slides that it creates, or so it's only infographic, or the slide also is not editable.
So the way it works as of today is it generates images, which is an infographic. So slide is actually just 10 infographic images stitched together. That's all it does. So you're right. It won't allow you to edit it as of now, but it's already very powerful to use. That's why I'm saying, please be aware of it and start putting it to use. And maybe you don't be able to edit it today, but in 3 to 6 months, I'm sure there will be an option to edit it, which will come up. But yeah, as of today, yeah, you can't edit the image directly. And so
you use prompting to make it to create better versions.
Correct. So you can, in fact, you can re-upload the same infographic in Gemini and say, change this. That's like the least worst way of doing it at the moment. So you can just take the image and say, change that one part about the image. Or like in Canva, we literally just put a box on top and ask it to edit, like just type the text in pretty much.
Okay, perfect. Super. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. I have a question. Thank you so much for the amazing information that you have shared. Am I audible, first of all?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, my question is this option of having the agents is available on Copilot? Because in our org or at my org, we are not allowed to use anything besides Copilot. So is it there?
In Copilot. I think it was there. Let me just see if it is still there. There is a GPT builder in Microsoft Copilot. Oh, I'm very sorry to be the bearer of bad news. That's why I said I remember they were making a decision of not to have it any further, but I think what they're doing is there is a Copilot Studio, which I believe will give you the same output, but you have to do much more steps.
Actually, a little bit of dev stuff, which is a little difficult to use.
Yeah. So as of now, there isn't, but yeah, I remember it was there and they removed it. Okay, maybe I'll dig deeper and see if there's a simpler way in Copilot Studio to do something. I'll just take a note of in the future. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Next question.
Vishal Govind here. One question related to the previous question here, right? Most of the people who are working in a proper, well-structured corporate organization, there will be a lot of ifs and buts to navigate through the complexities of compliance to install anything, for the matter, Handy or any other tools, right? For you, setting up your own company, opening it up from the top makes it very easy. But then in a company like a bank or etc., right? Some of these tools can't be really used. Like Handy, for example, you installing it, it actually asks you whether you want to integrate it with your operating system in a way, right? Now, no compliance would approve it. Now, how do we deal with productivity in situations like that is the real test. Maybe not an answer you can give right now, but while you do the masterclass, the future sessions, think of those people who actually work in a very tight compliance setup, but they want to use these tools as well.
Yeah. So,
That'll help.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a very valuable feedback. So, like I said, Handy right now is like very effective. It's handy. It's in the name. And it's something that we use because we can. And at least at a personal level, make sure you do have it on your personal laptop. It's definitely useful that way. Now, I can see more and more people like Microsoft, people like Apple, etc., are creating sort of speech-to-text more as a capability, and voice as an input to AI is definitely the future. There's definitely a lot of experiments in getting that down to even easier. You can build apps using your voice, you can build graphics using your voice, etc. So as of today, you're right. There's a lot of barriers to getting that, but maybe some of the workarounds is open Copilot and use the dictation over here to quickly just get data in and say that create a persona file. Right, so something like that. So there are other ways to get speech into text. And as of today, maybe it's a workaround, but definitely in the future, I'm sure it'll be integrated somewhere in Windows, using Windows' own AI and maybe Apple's own AI at the moment. Handy, the way the developer had built it is the model. Some of you have seen the word Parakeet. So Parakeet is actually a model, I think, developed by NVIDIA, and which is very efficient for converting speech to text. So it happens to work extraordinarily well. It was not possible maybe 2 years back, but we live in an era where it's there, it's free. So try and use it where possible. But I'll keep in mind if there's anything that's restrictive at an enterprise level. Okay, cool. I hope that answered the questions. A couple more people raised their hands up. By the way, the core learning part of today is done, but it's just Q&A for the next 15 minutes. So if anyone wants to quietly sign off, I think it's called the Irish goodbye. Yeah. Little bit of random fun facts with Vishal moment as well. The Irish goodbye is the departing a location without saying goodbye. So you don't need to announce that you're leaving. You can just close and drop off and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Would you able to see your Q&A section?
Yeah, sorry, who was that?
Me, Lokesh. Would you able to see the Q&A section?
Yes, I can see that. Okay. Install all with transcription model, Parakeet v3, and it does not need internet connection once you run it. By the way, I tested Parakeet and Handy on an i3 laptop that's like 5 years old, so I was surprised it works so well. So that's why I'm a huge fan of it. Slides will be shared, and we'll be putting that in the WhatsApp group as well. And I'm also working on a separate portal for all of the prompts and everything that I'm sharing. It's something that I'm building, which I'll show in the last 5 minutes of this presentation. So people who do stay on, they'll be the first to use it. Okay, recordings also will be there. Yes, there was a question on granola. Yes, good. Granola is sort of like an overall meeting kind of tool. It works to record the entire transcript. You can actually use the same thing in Handy and just turn it on for the entire meeting. Granola is really designed more for capturing entire meeting notes. We end up using Google Meet a lot. If you're using Teams as well, I'm sure there's an option to transcribe the meeting. Hello. Where you can just click record, start taking notes, transcription. So this is how we use it in Google, and Teams has equivalent. So most of the time, this is good enough to get all the transcripts and all the notes that you want. And we try and focus on using the transcripts and not thinking about taking notes, so we can speak and ideate faster rather than worrying about who's taking notes. Okay. All right. Andy is only for, yes, why don't we use ChatGPT speech to text? Yes, you can 100% use ChatGPT speech to text because that's meant for within ChatGPT. But as you can see, I'm using my Gmail, just creating a new Gmail, for example, or docs.new, and I can just directly type into here. So I don't need to use ChatGPT to type.
Okay. Hey Vishal, Gaurav here, and I was not able to download anything, especially.
Okay.
So that's the same question what somebody was having here before. So
okay.
Maybe I'll need some help after this session.
Okay. So just confirming everyone was able to go to Handy and try installing it. And whoever is blocked, I think there's really only 4 use cases or 4 versions of this. If you're on a MacBook, it's probably, if you bought a MacBook in the last 3 to 4 years, you would be using the first version. If it's older than 3 to 4 years, then it's probably this version. And for Windows, it's probably this. But we'll take a look at what's happening separately.
Okay. Yeah, I tried that. Yep, cool. Thanks.
Okay. And just paste any error messages. Again, I guess my challenge would be trying to recreate some of this as well, if it's there. Yes. Okay.
Vishal,
yes.
This is Himanshu. I just created a persona profile using the prompt, downloading the LinkedIn profile and then created the persona. Is this the right way to do it?
So there is no right or wrong way of it. If it works for you, it's the right way for you. So beautiful. I like how you had gone to somebody's LinkedIn and said, create a persona. So let me see if I can do that for myself.
We can download the profile and then create a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
To create a persona, we can create the prompt in Gemini and then upload the same information.
Create a persona based on this LinkedIn profile. Yeah, and you can probably add some nuances. Again, this is a very high-level-ish kind of stuff, so it doesn't necessarily know what I like or don't like, but yeah, it's a pretty good start. So now I will keep this bridging. I like that, bridging the gap between what if and how to through AI and design. It knows me. I've never known somebody who knows me so well. Okay, so let me do this. Virtual shop. So I'll just put this again. You have to tell what the instructions are, right? Act like Vishal. Profile below. And evaluate any submission. Give what you like, what Vishal likes, what Vishal doesn't like, rating on 1 to 5. And Ritika, this is the format that I would recommend. Pros, cons, and then rating. Act like Vishal. Cool. And that's it. Now that's a virtual me that I can share, or a virtual client. So yeah, great use case. Great idea. And this is the beauty of it. We're all learning and discovering, as some of you get into this in specific areas, you might be 10 steps ahead of me. Some of you are discovering this, but then find some other variation, which maybe I've never thought of. And that's the whole idea. Keep sharing things. Use those as ideas for your projects. Yeah. Okay, others? Any other questions? We're in the dying embers of this conversation. I've been using Claude. Claude is also very good. Claude Pro and Projects is also very good. You can use them pretty much the same way. So pretty much all of the gems, custom GPTs, Claude Projects, all these are basically predefined prompts. That's all they are. So the use cases are how we choose to use them. So I've created this virtual version, and the only thing that is like a true value add is this sort of 5 sentences or 4 sentences, right? So if I had said something, anything else like, here's a repository of a customer support questions, and you might be asked questions and answer based on this and this only. And then you can upload like a PDF of your FAQs, etc. And now you have a customer support bot, right? So you can then share it to your customers and say, hey, use this to ask any basic questions. If you're still stuck, then come to me. So this is like, but the virtual client, I find to be a very unique use case, and it can be a virtual manager, virtual you. That's one way I see as leveraging AI to sort of amplify your time and create versions of you that don't need the real you to some extent. Okay, so there was a homework-ish slide for people who have stayed on. Was pretty much, yes. So the homework slide is basically to use the lessons of today, which is handy, to create a business goal or a mission statement for 2026.
This is Mamta here.
Yeah, hi Mamta.
Hi. I had written, I'm a 63-year young entrepreneur. I wanted to know whether this is the first section for me on AI. I'm very much interested in it. So I wanted to know one thing. Tagline, can it be elaborated? Tagline.
You mean I gave an example of chatting with this one? This one. Is this what you mean when you're asking about tagline analysis?
Okay. I can tell one tagline. I wanted to know whether it can be. I'm working on a water thing. So women and water are the lifeline of being. This is my tagline.
Women and water
are the lifeline of being.
Okay. So, Mamta, just for context, I created this virtual analysis or a custom gem based on my company's brand guidelines. So it's going to analyze it against my company's corporate brand guidelines. Okay. So when I give this, it's going to definitely say it's not techy enough, or it's not going to sound like this thing. So it's going to give it a low score because we're talking about tech and stuff, like not nature. But if you want to create sort of like, let's say, brand manager pro, give brand management Yes. Act like a world's most capable brand manager and analyze whatever inputs I give and give ideas on how to improve it, as well as what you like about it, and give it a score on a 1 to 5 rating. Ask any additional questions in case you're not clear what the product is.
Yes, I got it.
So I'm not giving any context here, but for now, I didn't give about my company. I've actually just said act as a brand manager, right? And so now it's able to say what you like, what it doesn't like, etc. And it's coming up with some other ideas. We gave a score of 3.5 out of 5. Again, there's no context, right? So maybe now it says to give a better analysis, please answer these questions. So you might say, what is the product? What is the ideal customer? And then based on those questions, it'll help you with some more ideas. So I just added one extra line from my previous prompt, which is add additional questions, ask additional questions to help you improve your response. And so in a way, you kind of created your own mini MBA intern brand manager who can ask questions and help you refine your ideas further, right? This you can do within the normal ChatGPT or Gemini conversation, but the whole idea with a gem and a custom GPT is if you want to do this repeatedly. So let's say you are working as a marketing manager and every time a client comes, you need to bounce off the idea or you need to review ideas from your team, then you would create it as a gem. Please, I can just paste this into ChatGPT or Gemini and say, please improve on this, give me ideas.
I think in the due course, I will ask you a lot of questions.
Sure. No. Please, this is a
business. No, I'm into business, but I'm from a different this. I've been into business from 2002 on energy efficient lighting. I need to know certain things, which of late people have started asking to incorporate in lighting and all that. Let's see. I'll come back to you.
Okay, fantastic. I love the enthusiasm. We love young people. Anything more than 50, I consider as young. So
I'm 63.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love the energy. Okay. I guess final questions.
Hi, Shal, this is Supriya. Thank you for this insightful session. I had a question with respect to I would say gems or even the prompts, right? When you give it to AI tools, would it be GPT or any of the tools, I have particularly observed that the outputs that you get are very useful. But over the time, if not that they train from what we are asking, it's going to adapt. So it sort of creates a bias when it's going to give you a response. And that's what we carry over. How do you really avoid this? Like any best approach to rule the bias that it develops over time from the kind of questions you give or the way you want it to give you an approach?
So all the tools, Gemini, ChatGPT, etc., they're like trying their best to adapt to you. So which means that anytime you use it, it will store your history. This is like my memories of ChatGPT, like my use of ChatGPT. So it knows that I have experience in UI UX. It knows that what else? It knows a whole bunch of things, right? Is part of Hyderabad chapter of IIMBAA Alumni Club. So it takes all of this context and it gives me response. So it's designed to optimize for you in a way that hopefully adds value over time and hopefully you don't leave. Now, this is like the context in which like ChatGPT and Gemini also work in, where they have certain memories. Now, it will develop this bias towards you individually. So which means if you paste a link and on a bad day you say, I don't like this, it will remember that forever, that you don't like this. So usually what I try and do is every once in a while open my history and then see what all it remembers about me and then get rid of stuff which is out of date. So almost now I can see the messages and stuff and say that, hey, it knows probably too much about me to some extent. I need to kind of flush it out so that it can do, less biased kind of version of it. Now, things like Notebook LM and stuff like that, it is slightly better because it's designed not to go out of context of the files you upload, which means it actually never improves over time, because whatever you set it as is the context that it can play around with. So the only thing you can do is kind of schedule like an audit in terms of, hey, what all documents am I putting in so that it knows these kind of facts, and just use that and get better. So there's no like clean answer in terms of how do I reduce bias. It's more of just keeping in mind that your historical data influences the responses, and regular just checking in and saying that, hey, looks like I need to add more context because it's not been updated in a year. It doesn't know what it's talking about. I need to add more information, and I get it. So you're manually training the model or the AI, basically.
Got it. So in Notebook LM, then it's mostly going to be around the facts that is being shared as against adaptability over time, because it's still
Correct.
fetching data from what we have asked
Yes.
as a resource or uploaded.
Correct. So if you uploaded last year's brand guidelines, that's all it'll use till Google dies, pretty much.
Got
So
it. Yeah.
you can
Vishal?
update.
Yeah, Vishal,
Yes.
quick question here. How do I refer to Gem in my chat, Gemini chat?
So if you're in Gemini, somewhere on the left side there will be an option for gems right at the top. Can you see that?
Okay. Yeah.
And then if you click on that arrow, it will show you all the different gems that are there, which you can then use to kind of chat. So to start a chat with a gem, you have to go to the gems and then click on like start chat.
Got it. Okay.
And once you start the chat, the context of that will be as a normal chat. Like it will know that you have chatted with a custom gem, and it will be there on your history.
Okay. When I started, when I asked Gemini about Gem, it took me to the Gem marketplace of Government of India.
Okay, got it. I think it
Vishal.
Yeah, okay. So in Google knows Gemini Gem, it kind of puts it there. But yeah, it's possible that it's just trained on Gem from last year rather than the Gem of this year.
Got it.
You're all gems.
Vishal, sorry, I've been waiting to speak to you. Can I take a second before we close?
Yeah.
Two things, Vishal. One is, can this summarize academic WhatsApp group, the Notebook LLM? That's one. The second is in one of your sessions, investment portfolio tracking, if or maybe offline I can catch up with you. Just something which gives a complete umbrella view of mutual funds and stocks in one place, because hard to find something good in the market right now. The third is I downloaded Handy, but when I open Word, it's not showing like your screen to the left side for consumption. Any reason?
So when you open, so you're on, let's say, Word.
Yes, Vishal, I think Vishal, it's an important point. You need to bring in the Windows experience as well, in addition to the experience.
Yeah, so this is like my Microsoft Word, for example, and Handy is running as a separate service, as a separate application on the side. So it's not like a directly integrated kind of flow. It's running on the side over here. In fact, I'm not sure
So you have to copy paste basically.
And so when I now have, for example, I have the cursor here, so I'm ready to type. I can manually type, or I can press like Command and space, and then now I can speak and let go, and it will convert it into text. So it's like working as a virtual keyboard. So wherever you can type, you can speak. That's the idea. So it will not come as a separate panel. Almost you have to think of it as, that's why I call it invisible AI. Like once it's running in the background, it becomes second nature. You're like, oh, I don't really need to type anything. I can just, say stuff. I can just say stuff and it will just convert that speech to text.
Thank you, Vishal.
Okay. And trust me, guys, you embrace this sort of tool, it'll just make you like your brain will rewire to why am I typing like one page manually that will take me 30 minutes? I can just speak free flow for like 5 minutes and it will fill up the entire page. Like that's the kind of unlock that I expect everyone to be having. Yeah.
Can I ask a question here, Vishal?
Yes, yes.
So Vishal, you gave an example of customer support bot, and you said that's basically nothing but a version of Gem, actually. Well, is that correct? Can you explain that again, please?
Yeah, so this is like the most basic customer support bot that you could create. Again, you can actually do this within Notebook LM or within a gem. So you can basically say like, customer support for Quantana. So ask any question about Quantana and I will answer. So here we can drop in saying that you are a customer support and answer questions based on the content below. If the content below does not answer the question, say you do not know and provide an email address for escalation. And then you kind of dump in your FAQs from the website, etc., and it will answer based on this. That's like the basic level stuff. And I can just do this. So this is useful for mostly internal stuff where you don't need tracking, right? Like this actually will not report how many people asked, how many people interfaced. It's purely a way to kind of dump some content out that people can query, etc. So if you want a full-fledged chatbot system where you can track who is asking, where they're asking, then you need like a different solution for. But this is one use case. Again, the GEMS itself is quite a powerful tool that people don't use. This is just one such use case. Yeah.
Hello, Vishal. Can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
Actually, you have already explained about the notebook LM, speech to text. We can do that, but how to paste into the Gemini? Is it possible? I think you have explained the paste from the notebook LM to Gemini and get the result. And also, second question is how to get the infographic slides from notebook as well as from the chat GPT.
Yeah, so within Notebook LM, when you kind of get content in, so first you want to get what you want to be created in Notebook LM. You can either copy paste text, and if it's copy pasting text, you can either directly speak into it. So here is my idea, convert it into text. You can either do that, and you can see it's very fast. It's startlingly fast. This is one way, or you can upload documents. You can be like, please take my last year's report, do something with it, etc. Right? I can just upload it and it will add it to the list of documents. Now, based on these documents, I can generate infographics or I can create slides. So these are the two key things that I use on a regular basis. And the slides are created like this. Now, the slides are not editable slides as of today. So probably in a couple of months, there will be some way of directly converting to slides and making it editable. But
So one thing I will ask, like this right hand, like studio, this infographic slides, once I upload the document, this right hand column will directly come infographic.
Yeah, so correct. Once you upload, this will come up, correct. These are options that you can use.
Okay, these things will come.
Yes.
List tabs will come, audio overview, video overview, everything will come.
Yeah. Correct. So if I open let's say,
can I link this with the Gemini and ChatGPT also? Whatever I typed. So in the Gemini, if I go, can I directly? Is there any command to paste whatever speech to text in the notebook LM?
So I guess a couple of questions or a couple of ways, if I understood that correctly. Let's say I did narrate what I wanted. This is actually the exact, this is, where is the text? Okay, I didn't paste that here. So the exact text that I gave here, for example, is over here. So this text, I can paste it back into Notebook LM, or I can download each of these and upload it into Gemini. So the text alone is there somewhere. So for example, architecting the input, the power of meta inputs. So you can see one of the slides that I literally did a speech dump in my using Handy, and I generated this text. Now I can just, if I want, copy paste this out into Gemini and continue from there, or I can download the the infographic and upload it into Gemini and take the context. But if my use case is whatever content that I have here, I want to just ask it, I can actually just chat directly here. This is also a version of Gemini, but within this context only. So I can say, for example, what are all the tools covered in this entire workspace? So it's going to search all 13 sources and hopefully take whatever are the tools. Okay, I don't know if it even knows what all the tools are, but let us see. Gamma, Kimi slide. So these were some of my older notes. Speech to text. Yeah, so it's done quite a good job. So it's taken all of this information and given me the tools. So it is not gone out of the scope of this context, right? So if I didn't have a file, it will not give this information. So if this is the use case you want, then you kind of have the power of Gemini inside Notebook LM. Or I can copy paste this into Gemini and use Gemini like a normal tool. Does that make sense, or did I cover your question?
Yes, thank you for this. One more question I want to ask Vishal. Like I use ChatGPT and Gemini, if I give a prompt, prepare the slide for this, they generally give attachment, Word file, PDF. If I open, sometimes it is open, sometimes they give the codes. This code you can put in the Google search and you will find the slides. And those codes doesn't work if I do. Number one thing. And can I get the result by prompt like video format also from the Chat GPT and Gemini and infographic slides? Is it possible? Because whatever slides we get in the Chat GPT and Gemini, those are the editable. So, yeah. But we don't get perfectly for the slides with the photographs, schematics, diagrams, and videos. Video we don't get, I think.
Yeah. So these are all limitations of AI as of today. You're right. So ChatGPT and Gemini, etc., they can generate slides, but very basic ones. So if I can help you understand how AI currently works. If I want slides, as of now, it generates text by text, headline, subtitle, text 1, text 2, text 3. That is one way of generating slides. What we are using in Notebook LM is currently the best practice for visuals is it generates an image, an infographic. So infographic, it is one output and text-based slides are the other output. Now, ideally, we want both of them to be combined. It does not exist as of today. Probably in 3 months, 6 months, it will be there. But as of now, they're separate technologies. So for us, the way we use it as an organization is we generate the infographics on Notebook LM. Then we go and manually add the text wherever we need to by literally cropping it and putting it. Unfortunately, that is a limitation as of today. I wish I had better news, but maybe by the time this series is over, that problem might have also been solved.
One more question, if you allow, Vishal.
Yes.
Can we get the video of any process from the GPT or Gemini or Notebook LM? Videos. Let's see, if I say I want to get the thermal power plant operating video, process video. So can they give the video format?
So I think right now that, I'm just trying to generate a video overview right now. What it does is it mostly will create slides and then it will animate them with some music. So that's the limitation as of today. There are video generating tools which generate from prompts to images, and you can get about 8-second clips which you need to stitch together. So I'd say in terms of your expectations, if it's 100, we are at 15 or 20. So maybe, sir, give us till the end of the year to get at least to 50%. we're not there yet because there's still a lot of manual work that has to happen to that to take it to that level.
Maybe paid version they are giving, or because we are using the free version.
So when you say videos, there are tools that you can generate like very realistic human effects, etc. And like for example, HeyGen. Again, some of these we'll cover at a future session. HeyGen, Comfy UI. These are some of the different tools that are out there in terms of generating complete videos from scratch. Like these are some of the videos that are AI generated. They require a lot of finessing and a lot of almost, it's a new skill set. It is not just video editor, but it's an AI video editor is an entirely different skill set. So you have to be really good at your prompts. You have to understand where the AI is going to make a mistake and try and catch it beforehand. I would say it's not reliable enough for something that is deeply technical and requires exact specifications. So these are good enough for prototyping and ideas and sharing concepts. But if it is like, it must match what is there in reality, then as of today, I would not recommend putting everything into these video generation tools. That's as of today. So maybe in the future it will get better, but yeah. And this is more
Which site you have told, Hargen or HeyGen?
HeyGen. Yeah. HeyGen is a good for like creating videos of people, and Comfy UI is like a pro level tool for creating any kind of visuals. But these are at best, people make 8-second clips of these, and we have Gemini Nano Banana video as well, which is quite good. But again, can only create 8-second clips at a time. And most of them are good for fantasy and good for ideation, but not if you need it to be exactly 100%. It's a very weird video. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can see different kinds of AI generated clips, animals, buildings, cars, etc. So if you want to take your friend to space, this is a good tool for that. But schematics, I would say not as of today. Okay.
Thank you so much, Vishal. Outstanding session.
No worries. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right. We're still on. Yeah. Open for questions. Go ahead.
No, this is Lokesh here. We are at 6:15. We can ask the people to join the WhatsApp group and start posting the questions there.
Okay, cool. I think we're wrapping up for now. I guess let me call this a day for now. I see 100 people are still online. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been amazing. Like I said, okay, so we will be signing off shortly. And there is just one small thing for the people who stayed on till the very end. It's something that we've just started building recently, specifically for this group, where I'll share this link shortly. Once you sign in, you can actually see all the sessions that were previously done, upcoming sessions, bunch of prompts that I'll keep adding to this collection as well. All the tools that we've covered will be over here. There's also mini discussions. Again, this is just there as a quick thing. But yeah, some of you have already started using this, and hopefully this will be something that we can keep adding, even if WhatsApp dies, we will have stuff here. So, all right, that's all for now. And
hey, Vishal, just a quick minute. So I have been using this Zoho on a browser, and it looks like that's why I don't see the chat windows or something. Is that the case? I see only poll and Q&A. I don't see any chat windows.
You should see something like this.
No, I don't see chat windows at all.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's only Q&A and poll.
Yeah. It was not enabled for the attendees. Q&A is enabled for the attendees.
Oh, okay. It's in Q&A.
Oh.
Okay. All right. All right. Cool. We'll wrap for now. Thank you so much, everyone who stayed on, and we will continue on WhatsApp and on this QLabs portal. And we look forward to catching up in the next session. Thank you so much. You guys have been fantastic. Have a great Sunday. Signing off.
Thanks, Vishal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vishal. Bye-bye. You post that QLabs link on the WhatsApp group, please.